Hey, Motorman here. It's a balmy 80 degrees and a little breezy here in Florida with the wind chill is probably like 79.5. I know a lot of you up north are freezing your butts off. It's snowing, there's a blizzard out. There's nothing I can do about that. But let me tell you, what we have today, I'm going to show you my video. We did this past week. I think we had 5 riders, and they were what I would consider all average riders. And if you wanted to know what an average rider like you would look like while taking my class, that's what we're going to show in this video. Same mistakes that they made are what you're going to make. And I'm going to show you how to get ahead of the game because I've got something for you. Take a look at this. This is the special. You can get the shortcuts to riding like a pro and surviving the mean streets. And we're going to throw in a third video on high speeds. These 3 videos, plus of course the practice guide, $20 plus $5 shipping and handling. So for 25 bucks, you're going to get 3 videos and the practice guide. Shows you how to set everything up, tells you exactly how to perform the techniques and the exercises properly. If you happen to have an Indian motorcycle, this is the video you should get. So you're going to get Ride Like a Pro on your Indian. You're going to get Surviving the Mean Streets. You're going to get the high-speed video. And you're going to get the practice guide, again, for 20 bucks. So your choice. If you have an Indian, you like to see the exercises performed on the Indian, that's the only difference in this video. And by the way, you won't get this big package. We're going to send it this size package because these cost more. So I wouldn't want to charge you any more for shipping than I have to. So, your choice. Once again, Ride Like a Pro on your Indian, Surviving the Mean Streets, high speeds, and the practice guide for 20 bucks, or shortcuts to riding like a pro, Surviving the Mean Streets, high-speed video, and the practice guide for 20 bucks. And let me also say, my wife Donna is home from the hospital. She's got a long recovery ahead of her. She's in serious pain. It's going to be like 6 weeks just on the walker, so you won't be seeing her for a while. But now take a look at this video, and you might recognize a friend or even yourself. If you've never taken anything more than the beginner's course, your riding, if you came to one of my classes either here in Florida or around the country, will probably look just like this. All right, first time through the slow cone weave. They've gotten their instructions. They've watched the demonstration. I've even put the small cones there to start with. This student who's been here before on a Gold Wing did very well. He came to his senses and got a Harley Davidson because they're so much easier to do this stuff on. Shorter wheelbase, shorter rake. Over here. More swing, more swing. You trying to conserve gas? I don't even hear that throttle. Turn your head. Turn your head over here. That's it. Keep that power going to the rear wheel. Slip that clutch. As the riders start to get the hang of it, I replaced the small flat cones with the 18-inch cones. This keeps them honest and has them really dipping the motorcycle. If they don't dip enough, the bags tend to knock over those cones. And they'll still knock over some cones, but they're really now starting to dip that motorcycle and leaning a bit more in that U-turn. The U-turn is about 32 feet right now. We spend about 30 minutes to 45 minutes on this exercise alone. We've already done the slow race, so I know that the riders have a good handle on the friction zone and they keep their head and eyes up. I'm telling them here now to make sure they look ahead, keep power to the rear wheel. RPMs should be somewhere around 1,500 on most motorcycles. We now combine exercise 1, the slow cone weave, with this exercise. It's called the offset cone weave. Now here, I'm already tightening up the cones. We start with the cones at about 10 or 12 feet apart and narrow them down to about 8 feet. The idea is to feel the motorcycle transition quickly from left to right. It's similar to going around a winding road, a severely winding road, or if a vehicle pulls out in front of you and you have to make a swerve, you need to make this quick transition from left to right, right to left, and it has to be quick. You're coming down through an intersection at 40 miles an hour and you see a vehicle start to pull out in front of you. If you can't stop, you slow down. By the time you get near that vehicle, you're probably going less than 20 miles per hour. That's why Low speed handling is so important. You really use it so much to avoid accidents. Next, we move on to the intersection, or some people call it a four-leaf clover or even an iron cross. And they've been working on it for a while, so I add some circles to two of the legs. This is usually where the riders really start to get the hang of it. They're not perfect. They'll still make mistakes, but it's best to make mistakes here under controlled conditions, not when winding a turn at 50 or 60 miles an hour or in the middle of an intersection. Just a matter of three techniques: head and eyes, friction zone, a little pressure on the rear brake. Some of the riders are so good that they get to where they don't need the rear brake anymore, and that should be your goal. By eliminating the use of the rear brakes, it makes you better at the clutch and throttle coordination. The better you are at clutch and throttle, the less brake you're going to need, and it'll also show you how little rear brake pressure is actually needed once you can perform the exercises without any rear brake at all. Once the riders have a good handle on the intersection and work it in both directions so that all the U-turns are to the right, they're ready for this exercise, the Snowman. This screws with a lot of people's heads because there's so many cones in a confined space. You got to turn your head and look where you want to put that front tire very quickly. Always looking for that green-tipped cone.
Flip that clutch, turn your head, turn your head.
The faster you find that next green-tipped cone, the better. If you don't look fast enough, you're just not going to make it.
Are you going to do it?
This rider had a real problem with this exercise. In fact, you're going to see him tip his motorcycle over. I'm going to show you once in regular motion and then in slow motion exactly what's happened. Here his speed is pretty good, not turning his head quite fast enough. Here he should already be looking over his right shoulder for that green tipped cone.
All the way to the right. Get the bike over to the right.
He's get all the way to the right, use all the space available. He does that very good the first time. And he's got to go around one more time. And he cuts himself short, loses 6 or 7 feet. No way to make that turn. Here it is in slow motion. First time he's tracking right alongside the cones as he should. His head turn, though, is a little late. Once you're 4 or 5 feet from that green tip cone, it's time to focus on the next cone because it's going to come up really fast. Now he tries to turn too short, loses 6 feet, and tips over the motorcycle. No big deal. This bike has got motorcycle drop guards, so nothing happens. Now this rider is still not leaning his motorcycle as far as he should be, but he's got a good handle on the clutch and throttle and a good handle on the proper use of his head and eyes. Notice his head turns very good. Because Harley-Davidson's handlebars turn so far from lock to lock, he could actually make this even if the bike was standing straight up, as long as you have good clutch throttle control.
Over there.
The more he practices, the better he's going to get at this. He'll get over that little bit of fear that he still has of leaning the motorcycle to its limits. This is where we want to find the motorcycle's limits, under controlled conditions, not when making a turn out on the road or coming around a winding road. This rider's practiced before, not afraid to lean the motorcycle, though he still could go quite a bit further. But he's got a good handle on the clutch and throttle, turns his head and eyes, and he makes it easily. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something by it. I want to thank these riders for letting me film them.
Use that brake.